Good evening, everybody. This is the June 13th, 2024 meeting of the Needham Conservation Commission. I'm Dave Harrer, Conservation Commission Chair. Before we get started, I want to confirm that all members and staff are present and can hear me. When I call your name, please respond. Sue? Let's see her listed here. Reed?
Here.
Bill? I see you, Bill. You're on mute.
Present.
Fred? Don't see Fred. Allison?
Recording in progress. I'm going to turn this off.
And Paulina had said earlier that she might be late or maybe not present at all. So we have a quorum, and we have Deb and Clay.
Yep, here.
Okay, this open meeting in the Town of Needham Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Healy's March 2023 extension of the open meeting law temporary provisions. All supporting materials have been provided to members of the commission and are available on the Conservation Commission website. Before we start, let's cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each hearing on the agenda and then introduce the applicant and/or their consultant to begin their presentation. After conclusion of the applicant's presentation, I will call on each commission member to provide their comments or questions. Please hold until your name is called. After comments or questions from the commission members, I will solicit questions and comments from the staff and then from the public. Please mute your phone or computer when you're not talking. Please speak clearly and in a way that helps generate meeting minutes. Please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. And finally, each vote taken during this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Okay, the first item on the agenda is meeting minutes. These are minutes from May 23rd, 2024. Any comments?
Sue provided just a couple just clarifications. And I think I've just found her, moving her over from panelist, so she should be here now.
Oh yeah, I see. Hi, Sue.
Am I there?
Yep, to see you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thanks. Thanks, Clay.
All right. So if there's no further comments on the minutes, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of May 23rd, 2024? Yeah, anybody? Or I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of May 23rd, 2024.
Second.
Okay, let's vote. Bill?
Aye.
Reed?
Aye.
Allison?
Aye.
Sue?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Okay. Are there any updates on enforcement, Clay or Deb?
On what? I'm sorry.
Any updates on enforcement?
So we're anticipating getting the filing shortly for okay, Clay, help me with the address.
17 George Agate Road.
Thank you very much. So we should be getting that shortly. As you know, I did give them permission to fill in the hole where the propane tank has been installed. The soil is stockpiled very close to the stream. They do have erosion controls in, but it could overtop, and it's just safer than having the hole. So I did allow them to fill it in, but that's the only work on the site that we allowed.
All right. Anything else?
40 Lake, we still have not issued. We have not received the the revised plans that we had requested, so that's on hold, until we get the revised plans. As you know, we have a meeting set up with DEP on Gary Road. And the abutters that filed the appeal on that project, so. Hopefully we'll get a better understanding of, what the concerns are at that site visit.
All right. So let's go to the first item on the agenda, which is a request for determination of applicability for the South Street infiltration project. And I believe this would be Jason from the town to present this or discuss it.
Sure.
It's
Hi, everybody.
Justin.
This is
Yeah.
Justin Saviano, Assistant Town Engineer,
Oh,
here
yeah,
tonight
Justin, I'm sorry.
to discuss the RDA for the South Street Water Main project, which within that project, there's some scope to install some infiltration units at a few locations along South Street. We actually came before you guys earlier this year when we were putting the project out to bid, and kind of ran through the scope of the project. I don't know if you guys want to look at that again. Since that meeting, you guys had requested an RDA, which we filed for and reached out to all the abutters. I don't know, Deb, if there's anyone from what we filed with.
Do
if-
you remember this project?
I don't know
Most
if
of,
anyone,
sorry. Most of the project was exempt, as a utility in the roadway. But they did want to make some improvements to the drainage, and that didn't quite fit in with the general permit. So that's why we requested that they submit the RDA specifically for those areas.
yep, so, yeah, I believe in total there were 6 locations, but there were only a couple that were within the limits of a resource area. And because it was all within the road right away, but there is some excavation involved to install the infiltration units. So that's what kind of prompted this.
Yeah, like my understanding is these new units are an improvement over the existing systems and
Yes, and the whole point of it is to treat the stormwater that is eventually making its way into the resource areas along the side of the road.
right. All right, does any of the commissioners have any questions or comments?
Sue has her hand up,
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to have my hand up.
or is that could be my hand over you? I God only knows. Okay, sorry.
Anybody else? No? So if not, I would suggest we move to issue, I guess, I want to get this straight because I screwed it up the last time, to issue a negative determination.
So first you have to close the hearing,
Yeah, okay.
and
And
then you're
then-
gonna issue a negative determination.
All right, so any questions, comments from anybody? No? Okay, so let's, I move that we close the hearing for South Street infiltration project request for determination of applicability.
I second.
Second, okay, let's vote. Bill,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Allison,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Okay, so next, I move that we issue a negative determination of applicability for the South Street infiltration project. Anybody want a second?
I'll second.
Okay,
Bill
all
Leverett.
right, let's vote. Bill,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Allison,
Aye.
and Sue,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Okay, so I guess you're good to go.
All right, I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Good luck.
Thanks. Good luck.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is 11 Mary Chilton Road, DEP file 234-928. This is a notice of intent for a small addition. And we have the applicants and I guess Susan MacArthur, their consultant. So Sue, do you want to?
Sure. Yeah, may I share my screen?
Sure.
Okay. Can you see the screen or no?
Yeah, looks.
I can see it.
You can see the plan, okay. Zoom out a little bit. Okay, hi, I'm Susan MacArthur with MacArthur Environmental Consulting, and I'm not sure if the applicant is on the call. I didn't see her, but Beth Schulman is the homeowner applicant.
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, you are,
Yeah,
okay.
I am. They just
Okay.
they didn't put me on until a few seconds ago.
Oh, okay, great. So the site is located at 11 Mary Chilton Road. The lot is 10,000 square feet in size, and it contains a 2-story single-family home with an attached 2-car garage, a back deck that's raised, a bituminous driveway, brick paver front walkway, and a small garden in the back here, and maintained lawn. There is a utility line that runs along the back, part of just beyond the property line, and there is an intermittent stream that flows through there, and bordering vegetated wetlands associated with the stream that extend into the property. So back in February of this year, I delineated both the bank of the stream as well as the bordering vegetated wetland on the property. And so the proposed work entails is basically a sunroom. It's just a sunroom that's they're proposing. It's 14 by 14 square feet, or 14 feet by 14 feet, 196 square feet. And it will sit on a slab, just a slab. So no foundation, full foundation or anything like that. And prior to any ground disturbance, we're proposing an erosion control barrier, compost filter tubes probably. And access to the back will be around like the grassy side of the yard. We don't anticipate any heavy equipment or anything needing to get back there to do that. So the sunroom will sit on existing lawn and some gravel where the deck is, and then also where there's existing stairs on the deck that come down, and I believe those stairs will be replaced with like a spiral staircase coming down through. So in addition to the sunroom, Beth and her husband are proposing to create a naturalized area in the back of the yard. So where there's grass now, they plan on planting native herbaceous as well as shrub species. And they're also planning on doing some removal of invasives. There's Japanese knotweed, bittersweet, common buckthorn, garlic mustard, and multiflora rose in areas out here. I don't have the exact areas, but so they will have those hand removed or by mechanical means, and then like they'll swab the stems with an herbicide to get rid of, hopefully get rid of those. And then some of the plants that they're proposing to plant are winterberry, inkberry, high bush blueberry, wild strawberry, let's see, swamp milkweed, Pennsylvania sedge, blue labella, ostrich fern, mayapple, Christmas fern. So all native, and yeah, it'll look good. So that is all I have.
And also, we're gonna be, putting in a rain garden, to manage some of, the water flow.
And the rain garden will be over, I think, on this side, right, Beth?
Yep.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I just have one question before we started. There was a report by a landscape company.
Yes, yeah,
Do you want to discuss that?
yeah, I
It
can,
looked like a pretty comprehensive.
right,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was prepared, but can you see this?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, prepared by Parterre Ecological, and it is quite extensive. They, talk about existing conditions, what's out there now, and then they talk about the removal of the invasives. They list each of the ones I just told you, and kind of talk about how they're going to either hand remove or by mechanical means get those out of there. And then each one, they'll as far as removing Japanese knotweed management, cut and fill, foam herbicide application, and then it just talks about like when they plan on doing it, like time of year, I should say. And then they list the existing conditions. So what's out there now: red maple, red oak, black cherry, sedge, rush, jewelweed. So some of the species currently out there. And then they talk about the restoration planting plan for woodlands. So those are some of those plants that I listed: the swamp milkweed, the Pennsylvania sedge, whatnot. So they do come, right up to the delineated wetland edge, but a lot of those plants would do fine in wetlands. They might be FAC or back up, or FAC wet, I'm sorry, FAC wet. And let's see what the next one is. So then they kind of go through, they have photos of each of the different types of plants that they just listed in that table. And then they have, this is in blue is the rain garden proposed off the side there. They are proposing to create a kind of a grass path that will lead to the sunroom and around to the rain garden, and perennials in green that they're proposing. And I'm guessing, so the purple, well, kind of
Yeah,
looks,
the green is the grass, path perennials, and then the purple is more like the shade perennial.
shade perennials. Okay. Yeah, and then the rain garden plants. And then here's just some photos of those types of plants that were proposed. And then let's see, 3 high bush blueberry, 3 I guess it's holly, and then they're gonna have raised garden beds and the mowed path coming along here. So some photos, and then it just talks about the timeline as far as planting and herbicide and removal of invasives, that type of thing. So we, over a 2-year time period, 2024 through 2026. I think, yeah, that's the last page. Any other questions?
Yeah, it looks great. Let me ask the commissioners. So Sue?
Yeah, I have a question. So in other words, within the 25 foot, you'll be that's where you'll be clearing out invasive species and with the native plantings. Is that pretty much in the 25 foot
It
that
will
we're talking
be,
about?
yeah, it would be, yeah.
Okay, and the sunroom and the house, well, the sunroom would be within the 50 foot. Is that correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's all I have for now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bill?
There was one plot diagram, and there were some circles with a dot in the middle. I suppose, were those trees that were going to be they were grayed out?
In the
And then-
landscape plan, you mean?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are things that the things that are kind of grayed out a little bit exist there already. There are 3 of the high bush blueberries that exist there and the cherry tree. So those already exist. That's gonna stay. And then they're gonna add to the you know
Oh, they're going to stay.
yeah,
they're not gonna
yeah,
be removed.
the blueberry bushes and the cherry tree are gonna stay.
Okay, I thought they were going to be removed, and those other circles were the darker ones were going to replace them.
No, they're gonna stay and they're just gonna move around them.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Bill?
No, thank you.
Reed?
Yeah. So, so I think this is a circumstance, right, where our 50-foot buffer zone applies, right, because there's habitat within the buffer zone here, and so I think so just to be clear, you're requesting a waiver of strict compliance with our regulations, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the sunroom is proposed within existing disturbed area already.
Is
Yeah.
it a habitat?
It's lawn, I mean,
Yeah, so that's what I thought. It's not a habitat.
But the 25,
Yeah, just for clarification, the 50-foot, I think doesn't apply because it is lawn. They don't have to do
Okay.
the habitat assessment, but the invasive species work will be disturbance in the 25-foot, so they would need a waiver granted for work in the 25. Should it be approved?
All right. Yeah, I just wasn't sure. Okay. Okay, yeah, I mean, I think the planting plan looks great, and clearly been a lot of thought has been put into it, and appreciate you doing the invasive management and planting the natives. That's great. I just have one in the notice of intent. Sorry, that there's a caption to one of the pictures that mentions a driveway turnaround. I think that was just a typo, but just wanted to clarify.
oh, is that that's a mistake.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
No worries. I got to the last page and then I was like,
Okay.
I remember reading about a driveway turnaround.
No, my bad.
No worries.
That was the other project.
Okay. Yeah, that's everything I had.
Allison?
Just second what Reed said about the work. It's great.
All right. Fred, I see you showed up.
My apologies for being late.
okay.
I have no questions or comments.
All right. I had a couple of questions, but they were answered. And I think it's great that I'm assuming that you're taking the stormwater from this addition and directing it to the rain garden.
Yes, yeah. It's probably more than what we need for our 14 by 14 room, but we would get underneath the deck some with the heavy rains that we've been having. So I just figured that we might as well just put that in the plan, just to deal with that in a natural way.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I third the comments on the planning plan. It looks tremendous. we'll come over in a couple of years to see it.
Yeah.
Take
Any-
pictures of it to show other people.
Yeah. So is this your sunroom? Is that going to be like 2 stories, 1 story? I'm just curious. Is it going to be?
Yeah,
just
it's
one-
just gonna walk out from our basement and it's gonna be 1 story, with, high ceilings and glass and, enjoy our yard, a bit more once it gets developed in a native way.
All right, great. Deb and Clay, do you have any thoughts, comments?
Yeah, just looking over this application, as you all have stated, it definitely looks like a net positive. The planting plan isn't only robust, but the invasive species management is pretty ambitious. The management plan does call for 3 years of monitoring right off the bat. They have proposed the use of herbicide after the mechanical and manual removal, and I think that that's certainly a fair proposal when dealing with knotweed. There's just it's unruly. You just can't manually remove it and expect to see much progress in anything short of a decade usually. So the chemical intervention certainly resonated with past projects that we've seen before. I do think that there are some special conditions just to make sure that the herbicidal applicator, whoever comes in to do that work, we just would like to see those credentials, make sure that it's done by a qualified professional, just due to the proximity to the wetland. And then finally, circling back to the waivers, they will need a waiver for work within the 25-foot. It is a net positive. It does seem to meet the criteria for requesting waiver for work in the 25-foot. And then I might just add, Sue, if you want to just include a letter or a comment with the application, just requesting a waiver of the waiver fee. Usually there for the 25-foot, there is a fee associated. In the case that it is entirely a net benefit and it serves a public interest, there is a precedent to waive the entirety of that fee. So I pose that to the commission when closing on this hearing, just to consider issuance of the waiver and then issuance of the waiver fee as well, if that's what you so choose. Otherwise, yeah, the project looks like a net benefit. Really well done.
So Clay, you want me to, there's the waiver form, right? You want
I
me to-
think so. Yeah.
I'll fill out the form along with the letter requesting the waiver of the waiver fee.
Perfect.
All right, Clay, is there anybody in the audience, public?
I don't see any hands raised.
Okay, so we want to close the hearing
I have one.
and, oh, I got a hand from Bill.
I have a question for the commission, I guess. And some past projects that were similar to this, it seems like there's wetland that you don't want disturbed, and we required medallions to be put up.
Oh, the
Is
markers.
this a marker or something, so that future owners will realize that this is conservation land? Would this be a similar situation that would require some medallions to be put up as past projects? Just a question.
Yeah, well, I think that's a good point.
Good idea.
Everybody with any thoughts? Pro or
I
con?
second.
We can make that an item on the order of conditions, I believe. Right, Sue? I mean, Deb? You're on.
We could
Yeah.
certainly add the special
Thanks, Clay.
conditioning. Usually for a project like this, the usual precedent is just marking the 25-foot with probably three emblems for a lot this size, just to span that area. And they're just the wetland markers that say beyond this point is wetland.
Does the homeowner understand what we're looking for? No.
No, I'm not really sure what you're talking about.
I can explain it to you offline, but let me just ask, do you have the medallions at your office? You
We
do-
have medallions and adhesives. Usually when we special condition, we give some flexibility to what those monuments are put on, what the emblems are put on. Some people shy away from the granite markers because they're expensive and they often confuse surveyors. Oftentimes we see it put on fence posts, rebar, which isn't usually as attractive, or one of the popular things are bird houses, bird boxes along the line, and you just put the emblem, affix it to that post.
Oh, okay.
In a situation like this, it might match the aesthetic of the the native garden plantings as well.
Yeah, so essentially the 25 foot's a no disturb area. So that's why we like to demarcate that somehow. So as they said, future owners understand that that area is really a no disturb.
All right, great. So, I got a question for you, Deb. We close the hearing, then we can do the order of conditions at the next meeting, or I remember you were concerned about timing on a past project about how we do that. I was just,
It's mainly if we have something outstanding. We've had occasions where we want a revised plan. So we'll close the meeting and then we don't get the revised plan in time or something like that. But where you're not looking for anything additional. And Clay, you circulated the draft order, so I think it's fine to close and issue tonight.
okay, good. Yeah, I didn't see the draft order, but maybe we'll do that at the end, right?
Correct.
Okay, so I'll move that we close the hearing for 11 Mary Chilton Road, DEP file 234-928. All right, second, let's vote. Reed,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Allison,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Fred,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Okay, now we can vote on the waivers. So the first waiver would be
So the first motion would be to waive
work in
waive
the,
work in the 25 foot.
yeah, all right. So I move that we waive the prohibition of work in the 25-foot zone for 11 Mary Chilton Road, DP file 234-928.
I second.
All right, let's vote. Bill,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Allison,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Fred,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. So the second item would be to, I move that we waive the fee for work in the 25-foot zone for 11 Mary Chilton Road, DEP file 234-928.
I second.
Second, okay, let's vote. Bill
Aye.
and Reed,
Aye.
Allison,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Fred,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. All right, sounds like you're good to go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It will
Great.
look
Thank you
good.
all.
Great project. Thank you.
Who do you want us to send out the order, or is someone gonna pick it up to record it, or?
Beth, do you want to pick it up?
I can pick it up, yeah.
Okay, then it has to go to the Registry of Deeds and be recorded. And we need the recording information. So
Okay.
we'll let you know when it's ready for pickup.
Okay, and then once I do and bring it to the deeds, and then as far as next steps,
So there's a 10-day appeal period, once we issue it, where you can't do work essentially. And then you would probably set up a pre-construction meeting with Clay on site to go through the permit. And
Okay.
then you would be good to go.
okay, great, thank you.
Okay,
We'll let you
Okay.
know once we get the signatures and have the final document ready for pickup.
Great, yeah, just let me know. Thank you,
Good luck.
thank you.
All right, take care. Bye. All right, so the last item on our agenda is 49 Green Street, the Needham Golf Course, DEP file 234-911. This is a continued notice of intent. I believe at the last meeting, everybody seemed to be okay with what was presented, but we were looking for more information on the number and type or number and species of trees proposed to be removed and more information on the trees, the replacement trees. So who wants to speak for the Needham Golf Club?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Andrew Gorman from Beals and Thomas here on behalf of the Needham Golf Club. Also joining with me this evening is Tim Hood of the Needham Golf Club and Ken Motska, the chair of the Greens Committee of the Golf Club. So we're very excited to present these plan revisions to you. I'm just going to share my screen and just go over generally what was discussed 2 weeks ago, so everybody is refreshed in terms of what the various aspects of the project are. The subject of our waiver request relates to the work cleaning up and grading out the stream banks here and resodding the edges. So we'll be working within the 25 of the bank of the stream here, and then the retaining wall of the stream on this side, the southern side of the site. We're bisected by the MBTA lines here. Secondly, we're looking to replace existing flashboards in this asphalt line detention feature, just replacing them in kind. This is an area that is drained, and when the flashboards are removed, the club is able to remove the accumulated sediment that settles in the bottom of this pond, sediment which we're hoping to further abate by this stream bank restoration effort. The big subject of our plan revisions relate to the proposed tree removal areas. So we have a cluster on the northern side here. I'm going to turn to the plan in just a moment. So we're abutting, I believe, Harris Avenue here to the north. Then we also have a cluster of predominantly pines down here, while also some oaks and hickories. So we had a boots on the ground approach, and we were able to visit the site and collect data as to the species that are proposed to be removed. So again, I'll reiterate, a lot of these species are invasive, primarily on the northern portion of the property. So we have each one labeled by number. This is sheet C1.1 on our site plans. So start 23 through 47, that's the northern portion of the property. The lion's share of what we're looking at are Acer platanoides. We're looking at a lot of Norway maples, some tree of heaven peppered in. Even some of the natives in this area are not doing too well. The black cherry, I think we've mentioned before, is suffering from black rot. So we have gone through and quantified in both of the tree removal areas the species and the diameter at breast height of each that we're proposing to remove. So we're continuing forward with our planting plan of the flowering dogwood and the eastern red cedar, but we have added a plan note which will allow us to seek additional species prior to undertaking this effort, and that would be reviewable by the Conservation Commission or its designee for swapping out some of those species for one of the alternatives that was recommended. So those are the major plan changes, and I'm happy to answer questions or concerns the commission may have.
Okay, thank you. Let me ask the commissioners for their comments. Let's start with our tree expert, Allison.
I have a question on tree number 42.
Yep.
26.5-inch red oak.
It's a large diameter
North
red oak.
part,
Yeah.
I can see it. It's up in the north part or the upper part. Why is that being cut down? 42.
Sorry. It's part of the area that we want to manage and replant.
Let's
Why not leave
I-
that?
Yeah, can I look at that one again? I'm
Looks like a
sorry.
big tree. Is there something
Well,
wrong?
42, it's the large oak that's in the northern.
26.5-inch red oak.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's the one that's near the fence, Tim, that's kind of embedded in the fence there. Yeah.
is it embedded in the fence? Okay, we can take us, because I know there are a bunch of oaks there that we are not removing. I'm not sure about that one.
It stuck out to me.
Sure, it would, yeah, absolutely. Because there are about 8 or so oaks there up on the banking that we are not removing. We will make sure that that's not a mistake too.
Yeah, because it's such a big tree that it
Yep,
would
I
have a
agree.
lot of wildlife value and all kinds of value.
I agree.
So just that one, that's the only one I'm in
Okay,
looking at this list that really stuck out to me.
yeah, we can look at that one because,
Okay.
you know, that I think we were looking at most of the oaks we weren't going to touch.
I mean, if it's rotten or something, that's something else, but
No, right. No, there wasn't any sign of any oaks.
Okay, all right, thanks. That's it.
Okay, how about, Sue, do you have any?
Yeah, so I just want to clarify. So in our jurisdiction, what's the total number of trees proposed to be removed? The total number?
Total number is 47, so we're proposing 94, I believe, to be replanted between the flowering dogwood and the eastern red cedar.
And we discussed also about how we're gonna, you know, we may not remove as many. We're mainly on the first whole cluster, because what we're trying to achieve that sunlight exposure onto the green. So if we feel like we've achieved what we wanted, then we may not remove all those that are in that cluster. I think definitely down at the bottom of the bank is going to, because that's where the sun creates the shadows first. But moving on our way up towards, and some of the Scottish pines, you know, they are kind of more thin out trees that may not need to be removed.
So that's this area up here. Yep.
Would in any of those areas, snags be appropriate? I mean, I see what you're trying to do, but in leaving any snags of any of those?
Yeah, well, we can try to see. Do you see where the snags are now? That's from the Scotch pines that were died from prior years, and we agreed. We met with you, and we agreed to have some snags. So I think we could add a few snags to them. Sure. I don't know if I would add them all as snags, but
No, I understand. Yeah, but where would be appropriate?
yeah.
Anything
done.
else? All right, Reed?
Yeah. So are you still proposing to plant some of those eastern red cedars over on the practice tee, sort of over where the reservoir path is?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there are
over
some.
here.
So I guess I was thinking about this after our last hearing, and I think, I mean, I don't know if you're just sort of sticking them over there to just find a place for them, or if, you know, there's really desire to put them there. But I think another option that I think, you know, potentially we'd be open to, right, is instead of, doing tree replacements, you know, adding shrubs sort of in that area over by the green, to sort of create like a, you know, very nice wildlife habitat where you're, you know, planting the flowering dogwoods and other, you know, trees, and just something to consider,
Yeah.
you know, rather than.
One issue with that is that those areas are in play in terms of the play of golf. So there are a lot of balls that go into that banking.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, when you have lower growing shrubs, we wanted to put some trees in there, so we have some of the dogwoods there, but to have lower growing shrubs in there, then that would be impact play quite a bit on the south side where the four dogwoods are, but we could consider that on the other side of the green where it's further back.
Something to consider, I mean, rather than just sort of a line of, I mean, Look,
I
I love
know,
the
I
too, but,
understand, yeah, and there's
yeah,
also, there's possibilities of changing it. So that would that mean it's like the 2 junipers would be 8 bushes? I'm just trying to understand.
uh,
Is that what
Yeah.
the
it would be,
requirement?
it would be 1 to 4 for every tree remove. I mean, this is, we would need to approve it, right? It's not like a guarantee that we'll approve that, but I think, I don't know, just a thought that maybe might improve the wildlife value of this project.
I understand. I mean, we can definitely look into something to, once, because the first part of the job is to the removal, and then we could see what kind of a better impact we can do for it, and meet up with Clay and Deb and the commission.
Yep, can I just mark this up, which area of the bank we're discussing? I just want to make sure I have Reed's comment.
I think he's meaning the 14 junipers
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
replacement of the
Right,
14 junipers on the practice. Yep,
right, we're thinking about adding more shrubs in this area.
possibly adding shrubs in that area.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'd like to, this is just me talking, right? So I don't know how the other commissioners feel about this, so.
I just have a question. So you're only proposing 2 different tree species?
Yep, but we have added a plan condition where we want to be able to look at additional to swap them out, subject to Conservation Commission approval. Because that was one of the comments raised at the last hearing, that we are only proposing 2 at this time, but we're willing to look into additional.
Okay, unfortunately I wasn't at the last
Okay.
hearing, so I was just, I
Neither
guess
was
I'm
I.
asking the commission more, if they're happy with just having 2 species for 90 something trees, I guess.
Could
Hey, Allison.
could I ask a question?
Mhm.
Why did you choose Cornus Florida and Juniper virginiana?
We went through a few different iterations looking at I think we originally proposed striped maple and stuff like that to the commission.
Yeah, stripe wasn't, yeah.
But it wasn't really appropriate. So we're trying to look for things that met
Yeah.
sort of the intent of the play areas. The junipers in particular provide a great opportunity for screening. And the flowering dogwood, again, is a native pollinator. We found some value in including that. But
The one thing I would say, as a landscape architect, that junipers, the cedar, red cedars,
Yep.
that they're actually difficult to transplant in any size. You have to put really small ones in. You can lose them really easily. That's been my experience. The other thing is they don't get that big, and they also need to have full sun. So just make sure you don't put them in the shade, or in the shade of another tree. And I like them very much, but they do seed. They'll make little babies and stuff.
Mhm.
But they don't do well next to crab apples and stuff because they're a host to rust. So I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit of an odd choice.
Yeah, well,
To me, even though, I mean, I know why you're using it because you're stuck. You don't want to get a big pine.
Yeah.
But it's just a little bit, you might have a little bit of trouble with that many of them and getting them to do well. The other thing is that Cornus Florida, which is one of my favorite trees, has been subject to anthracnose for years. When they get to be a nice size, they get this horrible fungus. There supposedly is a resistant one from Appalachia, which I have bought, called Jean's Appalachian Spring. It's a native dogwood in the mountains of down south, the Blue Ridge Mountains, I think. But that's supposed to be, it's a selection. It's something that they found that is supposed to be more resistant to anthracnose. Is it? I don't know. I bought 2. But I'll see. But anthracnose is a fungus that will kill all dogwoods. When they get anthracnose, you can try to treat it, but they will die. So I'd be afraid to only have, I might throw some shad in there just because of this problem with this disease. So, just
We
kind
can
of
look at some
bet a
other
little bit,
measures.
cover it, hedge your bet with something else, because if they all die, you won't be happy, you know, they all get anthracnose.
Yep.
It's just something to think about.
You can take a look at that.
Okay.
All right, Brett, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I like the idea of shad, except Allison, what do you think my experience with shad is that they get that they're one of the hosts for that cedar
They are a
apple.
host. They are a host. You're right. You don't want them too close to each other. You can put
And so-
shad somewhere else, not close to the juniper, because they are the apple species. Yes, you're right.
So how much distance do you need between the two species?
I'm not
Probably quite a bit.
or I wouldn't put them next to each other. I don't know, across the fairway.
Okay.
But you're absolutely right. They are a host. They get the yellowy, you know, they get the leaves get a problem, and then on the cedars they get this really, really weird Medusa-like jellyfish on them. It's just, I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's really disgusting.
It's reddish.
Yeah, and those are and then the spores come off of that. It's really primitive looking, I must say.
It looks alive, right?
It does look alive, yeah. Yeah.
All right, who else? Bill, do you have any comments?
No. Am I on?
Yeah.
Okay. No comments at this time. Thanks.
Okay, and I see, Sue, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I do have my hand up. It's mainly because we're talking about 90 plus new trees with only it being two species of trees. I think there's got to be a lot more diversity, either as what Reed and Al were both saying, to go with some shrubs wherever it would be appropriate. You got to have more diversity than just planting 97 trees of two species.
Can I ask a question on that? For plantings, can it be any planting that's on the property that the golf course occupies, or does it have to be within this particular area of the within the waterways here? I mean, I can think of a lot of other areas to do a lot of different varieties throughout the golf course, but they may not be actually within those particular spots. How does that work?
I think in the past we've tried to put it in our jurisdiction, but Dave goes to Dave, I guess.
Yeah.
All right,
And the one reason for the evergreens, the juniper, especially on the 8th hole side, is I think once the Norway maples are gone there for this time of year, it's really going to open up that area there are some neighbors over there. You know, we figured keeping somewhat of a buffer that they have now, the junipers would help and not also overpower what's there. And plus we still have some oaks that are there, but that's why we're trying to create that buffer for that area. But we can, I mean, if we can, the first thing, like I said, is the removal. We can always come back and show you a revised plan once we see the scope of it and see if we can do some other plantings with different varieties.
all right, any other comments from commissioners? I mean, I kind of share the comments that are made, especially about, you know, the limited number of species. However, you know, I really don't have any other positive comments, you know, other than what has been made so far. At this point, I don't know if Deb or Clay, do you have any thoughts at this point?
No, I just, you know, I think that our purview is, you know, really habitat value. I understand that a lot of the trees coming down are invasive, but they still, you know, they're still nesting opportunities, and, you know, so they do have some value. So I think that if this, you know, were on private property, I think that we would make the same comments that we want to see, you know, more variety, more thought about the wildlife habitat value as opposed to, you know, the screening and the benefit that it will have for the golf course and the neighbors. I guess is my comment.
Clay, do you have anything to add?
No, I think everything's been touched on with diversity. I guess the only thing that I might add is, you know, we are looking at a larger parcel essentially. It's a full golf course. I think personally I might consider allowing some of the replacement plantings to branch out a little bit further than just jurisdiction. I think there's an opportunity to create some of this habitat more holistically and almost more interconnectedly across the site. I think that there could be an opportunity there to explore if the commission's open to it. I know that the precedent has often been to try to keep it around the buffer zones and areas subject to jurisdiction though.
I have a couple more questions. I'm sorry that I just thought of.
Yeah, go ahead.
So is the tree removal limited to these areas, or are there areas outside of our jurisdiction that you're going to be removing trees as well?
There may be a few more on the first hole green, depending on, see where the behind the green on the banking. Not all of them, but there may be another, I think it's a Norway maple there or something that we're gonna remove just to allow a little bit more sunlight through that banking.
Okay, and sorry, once again, I missed the last meeting, but previously we had talked about you know, installing, you know, kind of native species to try to work on the erosion with the banks and such. So did that change and now it's just going to be sod going up to the waterway, or?
Yep, so we had originally proposed the same conservation wildlife mix along the embankment that we had proposed for this planting area, and we're gonna see it over here too.
Yeah, and then I
But-
think we talked
Right,
about, you
right.
know, roots from actual woody vegetation would do better to hold the bank.
Right,
So,
we don't have any woody vegetation proposed, but we are gonna avoid using the seed mix that was inappropriate for it. That wouldn't take and would just cause some additional erosive issues, so we've taken a critical look at that, and it's gonna resemble similar to existing conditions. Yeah.
okay, so it's just gonna be essentially lawn up to the channel.
Yep, up to the edge of the asphalt channel.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anybody else? Any last words? Or is there anybody in the audience? Clay?
There are no hands raised.
Okay, so it looks like, oh, the commission is okay with removing this amount of trees. A lot of them are kind of small. There are some bigger ones. I heard that you're gonna try to take another look at the bigger ones, the oaks. Look, it looked to me like there were like 3 oaks that were at least 20 inches in diameter. Oh, maybe I counted wrong. But you were gonna take another look at those, and also,
Wow.
I think there were a number of comments about diversity of species and the location of species. I kind of agree with what Clay and others have said that because there's so many opportunities in such a limited space where some of these removals are being would be conducted, that it might make sense to spread things out a little bit to try to have a broader area of plantings. I don't think there's anything any strong arguments against that.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Yeah, especially in this area. I mean, the whole area's been disturbed to
Yep.
some extent, and, sort of like a big backyard lawn. But I guess my concern would be, moving forward, how could we approve you moving forward but also leave open a mechanism for further review of your revised plan? I don't know, Clay or Deb, do you have any thoughts about that?
Are you,
So I don't have a draft order yet. So I can draft that for the next meeting. So if you want to, hold up.
I guess what I think I heard from the applicant that, they're gonna go back and look at a few things, but also maybe present at some point. And I think I heard, somebody say that, once we, remove some of the trees, we'll be in a better position to make some recommendations and all that. So I guess, what I'm asking is, could we, have like a bifurcated approach where, they would, get permission to start and then, come back with a more detailed plan? Or do we want to do that?
So are you gonna, I'm assuming that you're gonna have a 2-year monitoring requirement?
We don't have a monitoring requirement written in, but if the commission feels that's
Well,
appropriate.
yeah, I'm
for
sorry.
a
Yeah, I was
condition-
asking,
I'm
the
sorry.
board. Oh, no, no worries.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty.
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, if I may, Deb.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
I think logistically, it's a little tough to approve tree removals because you definitely want it contingent on meeting the 2-to-1 replacement. You have the tree policy in place, but functionally, I think that you're gonna see a more comprehensive replacement plan after you see what you're working with following the tree removals. So my recommendation might be to special condition that they have to come back with the tree planting plan and contingent on the approval, they have to be prepared to kind of do the full planting within the buffer zones, kind of maybe their worst case scenario, but something that complies. And hopefully that's not the case. But I mean, it's tough because you're gonna have approval contingent on getting a plan in the future that needs to meet some of these requirements, and whether there's flexibility beyond that is certainly open to that discussion at that time. So I think you have to kind of consider weighing. You just don't want to put yourself in a position where you approve all the tree removals and then you can't come to an agreement on the replacement plantings and you end up with fewer than what is normally required under the tree removal policy. On the other hand, I think that you can come up with something comprehensive as long as the applicant is aware that it may be a little bit of a struggle getting what they want, knowing that they have to, that the removals were contingent on a minimum of set number of trees, essentially.
So are the trees that you're removing, are you leaving stumps or are you
So
planning to remove stumps?
in this southern area, we're going to be leaving the stumps in place. In the northern area, we're going to remove the stumps.
So I guess my concern is, that's going to be a lot of disturbance in that area. So, just kind of allowing you to remove them and then you have this disturbed area and then later on coming in and saying, okay, we remove these and now this is what we're going to plant in this area. I guess that's my concern there. The area that you're going to be leaving the stumps, it's not going to be as much disturbance, but if you're removing all of these stumps, that's going to be a very disturbed area. And what timeline do we want to give them to actually revegetate it? And often these open areas, you're going to have invasives moving in and you obviously don't want to leave it open like that for too long. Those are my thoughts anyways.
I mean, if you had to go ahead for this project now, when would you start work?
Well, the work originally will start with the tree removal because we don't want to be doing work on the banking, especially on the first hole side until the trees are down because, you know, it would just could damage any work we do on the brook. But in the fall, we'd start and work through the winter. So what we could do is we could not remove any stumps until we have a plan, so we won't be disturbing anything. And then have the plan after the removal of the trees, but no stumps on the northern side. And then have a plan with different varieties.
So if you're not gonna start till fall, maybe we got time for one more iteration on this. And you could, put forth.
Put together another a design.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's unreasonable to ask. I think that would.
No, if that's what we can do more in. I know Clay mentioned the rest of the property. Is that still on the table where we could be working on like shrubbery and plantings?
I would say
other parts, and there are other parts of the property that there are some other areas where the other ponds are. We could even work around those areas too.
from my point of view, I think that's okay, but I'm just speaking for myself,
Yeah, well, yeah.
We'll hear what some of the other commissioners have to say. So there's a few hands up. Let's start with Bill.
I'm the newest commissioner and I haven't been following this as closely as everyone else, but I'm curious as to why you can't come up with the plan before you take down the trees. Aren't there programs, computer programs that could show you what it would look like and things of that nature? And also, we have guidelines, and I don't know all the guidelines, but I do recall that the new trees should be planted as closely to the trees that are coming down whenever possible. So maybe, I'm not sure if there's anything about diversity in our guidelines, but revisit that and see how well this plan is following our guidelines.
Yeah, I mean, let me respond to that, Bill. I think our guidelines, do say that, but, I don't think it's, inviolate. I think, we can make an argument that, we can spread the trees out. I think, as far as the number of species and diversity, I think that's an issue that, it's just common sense.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, because I feel like we are missing an opportunity as far as the channel goes to add any habitat value over there. With just putting the sod to the banks. So, maybe more thought and habitat value should go into these areas since we kind of have lost that potential.
Now that's another dimension there. Sue, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I did. It was, since it's such a tremendous taking on with all the trees down, and I feel that there should be a replanting plan submitted before anything starts, and then of course contingent to if when it comes time to replant, that it could, if they felt any changes were necessary, that they could consult the staff. But I do feel it's important, since it's such a huge project, that there should be a specific replanting plan submitted before the order of conditions is approved.
Okay.
Well, so we are submitting a replanting plan, but the commission, I think, would like us to revise it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else, Sue? No?
That's it.
All right, Reed, you had your hand up.
Sorry, let me, yeah, I just wanted to just say, yeah, I mean, I'm in favor of sort of if we can create, I think there's a real opportunity here to sort of create some nice areas with some nice wildlife habitat, and I think that, I'm in favor of that, rather than feeling like you need to be constrained to these specific areas, so, just sort of wanted to mention that. That I'm on board with that, that's all.
Okay. Anybody else?
If I may ask, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, sure.
I just want to kind of take the temperature a little bit. There was some discussion of using areas elsewhere on the property, and I know some commissioners have opined, but is there a possibility we can have some direction on that as we go to put pen to paper to put that replanting plan together? Because I don't want to us to propose things in areas that would otherwise be inappropriate, only to be kicked back again.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to be kicking this thing around forever, I'm sure. So we could put that question to the commissioners, but in the before that, let's have a comment from Fred. You had your hand up.
Yeah, I would just add my approval to doing some of the mitigation planting in a different area, if it would allow for habitat creation. And the concern I would have about the north area is that you don't lose the stabilizing of the slope and the water, the water retention and slowing down the water flow, because you wouldn't want to, you might cause more trouble in the stream if there's a lot of runoff there from taking down those trees. So I like the idea of taking them down in stages and taking a look at how the light changes, and but I would make sure that your people mentioned about the leaving stumps there, so you're not really disturbing the soil as much. Yeah, I guess that would be my concern on replacement in the same location, is that it be something that manages water flow and stabilizes soil.
Okay, so the subject of having creation of habitat in an area outside of the buffer zone, but within the golf course, was brought up, and I think 3 or 4 of the commissioners have made comments that in favor of that. So let me just ask the question to any other commissioner: is anybody really against that?
I feel that most of it should go into the jurisdictional area, but yes, I think it's such a large proposal that it could be appropriate to to spread out outside of the Jersey. And I think that's why just a replanting plan, a revised replanting plan, is so important.
Right, but like Tim was looking for a little more clarity as far as what might be acceptable or not. And I guess although our guidelines suggest that the trees, the replacement planting should be as close as possible to the items that are removed, that I think we're saying that we're flexible in that regard. But I would say as long as it was thoughtfully done in a manner that would create some habitat and not haphazardly. I don't know, is that you feel that's some direction, Tim?
I do, yeah. Yeah, Andrew, I think mentioned that, but yeah, I think we could revise the plan, and now that we can kind of branch out a little bit from not the specific 2 spots, and especially because of these the spots are where we're trying to achieve keeping the sun exposure there. So I definitely think we have some opportunity to do some other plantings with varieties.
All right, so it looks like we're asking for another iteration of the planning plan. And I think that's fine. Is there any final comments from the commissioners? Or the staff?
I have my hand up.
All right, so then,
I have my hand up.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
That's fine. So I have a question. If you do take this wildlife diverse area that's under the jurisdiction of the commission and then put it somewhere where it will no longer be under the jurisdiction of the commission, is there a way to put up some type of information or some type of medallion or something to say that this is now conservation land and you can't change it because it's under the jurisdiction of the commission now, even though it may not be within what is listed as our jurisdiction in the bylaws?
It sounds a
Good
little.
question.
Did I make sense?
Yeah, you did, but that sounds a little complicated to me.
Okay, that would be my
I don't-
suggestion, but it's-
Yeah, I mean, that you'd have to get into some kind of deed issue, which I'm sure the golf course doesn't want to get into, but I'm just kind of talking out loud here.
There are some other areas that are in your jurisdiction that we can definitely work with, and then there may be a few other spots that we think are possibilities. So I
Yeah.
guess just come back with a plan and see what you think.
Yeah. And I guess if you wanted, if any of the commissioners wanted to go out there, just see what the lay of the land is, I think that would be good.
Yeah, I'd be happy to give anybody a drive through and show. And Clay and Deb, one of them usually show up at our town tour, which is I think in August.
I actually just checked the calendar to see when that is.
Yes,
So,
I think it's in August, so, but,
yeah,
if you want to meet beforehand, so we can put a plan in place sooner, which probably should be, best. We can have sense, working with Andrew.
yeah, happy to meet with you.
All right, so we want to continue this then do you want to continue it to the next meeting or meeting after that, or?
Can we hold the next meeting as a continuance, and then if for some reason we aren't able to address the comments in time, we'll respectfully request to continue from there?
Yeah, that's fine. The next meeting is June 27th.
Okay, thank you.
So I would make a motion to continue this hearing for 49 Green Street, DP file 234-911 to June 27th, 2024.
Second.
All right, let's vote. Bill,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Sue,
And I just want to say, I'll be in suspense. I know it's a huge project.
yeah,
Aye.
Allison, Allison,
I can read her lips.
yeah, aye. And Fred,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. So listen, appreciate your time and, bear with us. This is a big project and
Sure.
we're all protective of
Yeah.
of the wildlife, the habitats and all that. So I'm sure we can come up with, or you guys can come up with a plan and we can all be happy. All right,
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so that's all the agenda items. I don't know if anybody has anything they want to share. Before some of you came on, I noted that this is Allison's last meeting and
Oh, it is? I thought there was one more. You're not gonna do the last meeting?
she said it was, but
Isn't it?
We'll keep
It
you
go-
as long as
so
you
it
want.
Well, I
goes
thought
to
this was the last one. This
It
is
goes to July 1st.
June 27th. Don't leave us now, Allison.
I don't think I'm on vacation. That's why.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, I'm in Rhode Island, so yeah.
Oh,
No, I'm sorry. Well, it's close to the 4th, you know. A lot of people are on vacation then.
uh,
Well, we're gonna miss you.
yeah,
Sorry.
you've been invaluable. We're definitely gonna feel your loss.
I'm very
sorry.
fond of all of you and
Thank
all
you.
the people I've worked with over the 9 years. It seems kind of embarrassing. I can't believe that it's been 9 years. I don't know what's happened to time. COVID kind of made it slow and fast. I mean, it was weird, you know, it was kind of a weird thing. I hated COVID actually. I think it was just dreadful for everybody. But in any event, I think that this is a wonderful thing for people in Needham. You know, I was born in Needham. I'm from here. Is to really do some service to your town and your country and in whatever way you can. And this is what I know. And so this is where I can help. And I just think that Needham, with all of its waterways and wetlands and streams and rivers, the Charles River, it's just such a wonderful, wild place. It used to be wilder, but it's still wild. And it's all a lot of it to do with water. And it's so important to keep going with this and don't lose sight of why we're here and how we're protecting this for our future generations as best we can. I mean, it's a hard job, and I really respect all of you for doing it, and keep going. Don't give up. And thank you, Clay. Thank you, Deb.
Listen, you know that I'm going to be emailing you questions and stuff.
I want you to. You were
This
here.
is not goodbye.
Please do email me questions. I love it pontificating.
Can we
all
appoint,
kinds of things.
can we appoint Allison as our,
I'll be your
our
secret,
landscape
your landscape architect, secret
emeritus?
Yeah, emeritus, yes. I have a lot of those.
Oh, I love it.
Starts happening, you know. But in any event, thank you all, and keep going and keep doing this beautiful work. It's really and also helping your neighbors, teaching them, you know, that's huge. So
Well, we hope that your life slows down a little bit. You get to enjoy it.
my sister
luck.
did die a week ago.
Oh,
Yeah, she did. Poor Margie. And today I have been writing the eulogy. I the
Oh.
grave. I approved the program layout. I've been busy. I've also been working from home on projects at work. So yeah, it's
No,
you
I'm
know,
sorry.
it's a lot,
I'm
and it's sad.
sorry.
It's
It
just,
really is. I'm sorry.
but
Yeah.
I did have a nice time tonight. So thank you.
Boy, do
We
we have
aim
a
to
surprise
please.
for
Talking
you
about
then.
plants and pines and, you know.
Before we let you go,
dogwood.
we even have one more Exhibit A review just
Oh,
for you.
good. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's finish
Nice.
it up. Okay. Thank you all.
Ended on an up note.
Oh,
Oh, thank you too. I guess I've been with her longer.
All right, any,
Yeah, so just before we adjourn,
oh
we do
yeah,
have the draft Exhibit A for 11 Mary Chilton Road. Most of this is pretty stock. I did include the information for the waiver in anticipation that you might be issuing the waiver and the waiver of the waiver fee for the invasive species removal. Then further down, the special conditioning specific to this, I did include a special condition that prior to the use of any herbicide applications, that they should provide the credentials and information for the herbicide applicator, just to make sure that they're licensed and they know what they're doing. This is a relatively sensitive site. I can change that language also to have them contact us directly, just so that we can get their information, understand their timeline. But the anticipated timeline is included in that condition. The other thing is normally we require 2 years of plant monitoring for mitigation and restoration areas. In this case, their proposal suggested that they would be monitoring and submitting reports to us for 3 years. I think that that may be appropriate again, just due to the proximity to the wetland areas. The uses are herbicides and the extent of the new plantings going in and kind of on that slope leading to the wetland. So I did change that over to 3 years if you feel that's appropriate. And then I wasn't sure if you wanted a stamped as-built plan. I know that the actual construction work is relatively minor. It's a sunroom. I wasn't sure if you wanted the full surveyed as-built or if you were happy enough with a stamped or signed letter from the engineer stating that it's within compliance, and listing any deviations.
That's good.
Yeah, I personally, I don't think, a surveyed as-built is necessary. But I don't know how anybody else feels.
What have we done in the past in circumstances like this?
Oh,
Right. I think it depends on the complexity
yeah.
of the structure. I mean, if somebody would measure it's 14 feet and it's attached to the house, that should be good enough.
I mean, the other thing I can do is I can require that the narrative that I can include the contingency that the commission reserves the right to request a surveyed stamped as-built should deviations occur, should it not go to spec. And that way off the bat, they don't necessarily need it if there's a surveyor or landscape engineer that's ready to certify it as being in compliance.
That's good. I mean, I think, what I've seen is you just have somebody certify that it's, what's the word I'm looking for? That it's consistent with the plan, the proposal.
But there's no deviations.
Yeah, exactly. It's just certify there's no deviation.
I'm fine with that.
All right, so let's if there's no other comments,
Sorry, Clay, did you mention you're gonna add the markers?
Oh, yes, I will. That was not in the draft, but I will include the requirement for 3 markers, essentially equidistant across the 25-foot buffer zone boundary at the back of the lawn, or what's currently lawn that will eventually become kind of the sedge garden.
Great.
okay. Any other comments? None? Okay, so I'll move that we issue the order of conditions for 11 Mary Chilton Road, DEP file 234-928.
Second.
Okay, let's vote. Bill,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Sue,
Hi.
Allison,
I,
and Fred,
I,
and the chair votes aye. All right. Anything else? Anybody want to adjourn?
Oh, go ahead, Allison.
I hereby adjourn,
Sure.
the Needham Conservation Commission hearing.
Wait a minute, Allison?
What?
Allison, we gotta have lunch. We'll have lunch sometime.
Oh, I'd
We'll
love
have
to.
lunch.
I'd love to, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. because we've been together for a long time.
Adjourn.
Yeah.
Adjourn quickly, the Needham Conservation Commission hearing. And I wish all of you well.
No. Mwah.
Yeah.
Right. I
Yeah.
I second any vote, raise your hand. Aye.
Bye,
Aye.
bye, bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
All right,
So-
good
Allison.
night.
Thank
Night.
you.
Bye, Allison.
Good luck, Allison.
Take care.